Hey nerds, Brian from Good Nerd, Bad Nerd, and we are here at the Batman Bad Blood West Coast premiere at the Paley Center in Beverly Hills, California. We're going to be talking to the cast, some of the creators, the director, and find out why this, the third movie in what seems like a Batman trilogy, is so significant and so important.
What happens when Batman is missing and there's no plan in place to fill in the gap?
It's a difficult task in a way because it's such an iconic character and everyone knows Batwoman, and I don't think I really realized the pressure that is on something like this when I was doing it. For me, it was a really comfortable scenario and everybody was very supportive, and it was fun, you know, to do it and play around with it and be relaxed with it. But at the end of the day, you know, you come to something like this and there's very particular and high expectations about what people feel is necessary to bring to the character. So, you know, hopefully we bring it.
To tell a story about a really cool superhero who happens to be African American is a real honor, and I'm just glad to get, like, you know, a first crack at this.
You know, you get more and more familiar with them, but at the same time, you just want to bring something fresh.
Introducing a family dynamic has been the success of this movie series, and I think there was initially a little bit of reluctance, but the more this writing, directing team has embraced it, the more successful it's become, and it really is kind of the beating heart now of the center of the series, and I think they get better and better. I think Bad Blood is probably the best Batman movie we've made since we started this new 52.
In the beginning of this film, he's at the monastery, and he's still modest enough to be like sweeping the floors of the monastery, but he's not modest enough and humble enough to shave his own head and stop using the internet like the other monks.
It's super relatable. That's what I loved about, you know, the script, that, you know, although these are superheroes and they're, you know, obviously we, you know, create this world that's full of, you know, comic book fantasy, the storylines are really grounded in some truths that I think a lot of the fans can relate to.
Anytime you get to play a villain in a DC film is amazing. I had the same impression from the Heretic. I feel like I do a pretty decent job at keeping up with the comics, but when they said the Heretic, I was like, oh, love the name. No idea who it is.
Like, the relationship with him and Damian, I think, is really, really probably one of my favorite, and to carry that from the last two films, and then yet be able to play with, you know, the situations that I was given in this film. It was a ton of fun.
You know, you just want to know if you're winning or losing. First, you anticipate losing, but, you know, turns out he does pretty well against Bats and everyone else in the movie. I would just like to point out, maybe undefeated in the film, just saying.
Always trying to figure out how can we put someone else in here that makes sense, that won't derail the story, but will, you know, broaden the world, because I also think we're world building.
There's a lot of themes that we kind of explore. I mean, there's of course the father-son theme between, like, you know, Bruce and Dick, but there's also the actual father and son with Bruce and Damian, and then the kind of sibling rivalry between Nightwing and Damian. There's a lot of themes in here with Batwing, because Batwing, Lucius Fox and Luke Fox. You know, again, we have the father-son. So there's a lot of family elements that are, you know, spread throughout the film that we kind of touch upon and try to show how we contrast the villains, their family order, and the heroes, and see how that kind of, you know, plays out together.